Hey, happy Wednesday, everybody, and welcome to another Chamber Check-In episode from Idaho's only five-star accredited chamber. Today, I'm thrilled to feature Moya Dolsby. She's the executive director for the Idaho Wine Commission. I'm going to bring her on stage right now. Hi, Moya.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Oh, that's such a beautiful background, Moya.
Isn't it nice? Sunny.
Where is that? What's that picture
That's
from?
actually in Coulter's Creek in Lewiston, so kind of northern Idaho, which was actually one of the first grape growing regions in the Pacific Northwest.
That just makes me feel like I want to go out and do some agriculture right now.
Okay, yeah, right. Start our gardens.
Start our gardens right now. It's
Wait a little
early.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Moya, we were talking before. These chamber check-ins are really great ways to share our member stories, their programs and services. But I love sharing the people. So let's start with you a little bit, Moya, and I'm going to brag on you. Moya, you've been an amazing ambassador of tourism for the Boise Metro and the entire state of Idaho. You sat on our boards with Visit Boise, part of the chamber. Thanks for being such an advocate for our organization, first and foremost.
Yeah, of course. It's fun. I enjoy it.
Well, tell us a little bit about your background. How did you get involved with the Wine Commission, and give us a little bit about your history of work that led you to your role as ED?
Yeah. So I actually started with the Washington Wine Commission. I thought I wanted to be an attorney. So during undergrad, I worked at the U.S. Attorney's Office for 3 years. And then one day I decided I don't want to do this. They don't seem like the attorneys are having as much fun as they should be. And I went to my dad during my junior year and he said, why don't you go see if the Washington Wine Commission needs an intern? And I'm like, Dad, that is like, where do you come up with this? Like, okay. And so I thought about it for 2 days and I couldn't come up with a better idea on what to do. So I just started volunteering there. They hired me on the spot. I mean, I was working for free, right? And then then I turned to be a senior in college and I started working full time and going to school full time in Seattle for $22,000 a year. I loved it. I feel like sometimes I have more money then than I do now. But yeah, and so I was there for 4.5, 5 years, and I got recruited to come to Idaho when I was 26, and I just thought I would be here for a couple years and then go back to Washington or Oregon or California. But I love it. So I've been here, going on 17 years, which is crazy. And people ask all the time, like, what are you going to do next? And I'm like, I don't know. You got any good ideas? But like, I'm solving hard problems with cool people every day. And I feel like I'm still making a difference and we're having fun, right? And I just really enjoy it because every day is different.
I love that story. I was born in Washington and lived there all the way through high school, and I'm in Idaho now too. And I've been here since '91, and I loved it. I'm not going anywhere else. This is the place to be, right?
Yeah. My husband refuses to move.
Okay.
That's kind of pretty much what he says. He's like, we're never moving. I'm like, never say never. Who knows, right? Like, yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about the Idaho wine story. And first, there's a commission, there's the association. I want to know and share that origin story. Why is the Wine Commission in existence? Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So we're a self-governing state agency. And so that means we fall under this other kind of branch of self-governing. And so we're funded by the wine excise tax and optional industry assessments and kind of specialty crop grants. It's not a very good business model per se, because we're so reliant on these grants to do a lot of the marketing. And that's why I try to be very involved in the community. So Paul, you're willing to help me with things, right? And talk about, right? And help spread the word. And so what we do is we market and promote all Idaho wineries and growers. And really, the commission was started in 1984, because that's when things started to pick up a little bit. And so more of the history of the Idaho wine industry. So it started in the 1860s in Lewiston, kind of where this picture is. And things were going great, right? And then Prohibition hit, and that really took a hit, across the country, but really in Idaho. And it wasn't until the 1970s that things started to get going again. And so then 2002, we had 11 wineries, and now we have over 60 wineries. So it's a pretty amazing amount of growth in such a short time period. But we really, like kind of what we were talking about earlier, we only have around 1,400 acres planted.
Right.
So big picture, that's not that much. So wineries do have to get grapes from Washington, some from California, but mostly from Washington.
So 1984, the commission started to support the wineries.
Yes.
And I love that picture behind you. I actually went to high school in Lewiston, and I did not relate the two, that was the first growing region in Idaho, but I can understand it. It's agriculture area everywhere. It's the perfect growing area for fruits, and especially grapes. You know, I sold wine for a local wholesaler for a while, and really learned a lot about, you know, the features and benefits of wine. And but when I was looking at the website, and I was learning a little bit more about the type of grapes that grow well in Idaho, I was really surprised what I found. So Moya, why don't you tell us a little bit about what grows well here in Idaho, and what should people go and ask for at their local wineries?
Sure. So to probably like back up a little bit. So we have 3 AVAs in the state of Idaho, and an AVA is a federally designated grape growing region. And you're like, why does that matter? Well, it's a hard approval process to get. So that really like makes you put you on your map. Yes, you're legit. Like, good job, you. So we have the Snake River Valley AVA, and that's what we're sitting in right now. So it goes all the way almost to Twin Falls to Eastern Oregon. It's huge. It's 8,000 square miles. Like, when I first moved, my mom's like, 8,000 acres? I'm like, no, 8,000 square miles. It's one of the largest AVAs in the country. Then we have the Eagle Foothills AVA, which is a carve out. So it's within the Snake River Valley AVA. And then we have the Lewis and Clark Valley, which is kind of where this picture is. So there's 3 of them. And will we have more AVAs in the future? Probably. It's just a really difficult process to go through. So in terms of what grows well, it's all vinifera varieties. So when I say vinifera, that's like Chardonnay, Cabernet, you know, Riesling. So we grow a lot of things well here. Like we grow a lot of Chardonnay. We grow a lot of Riesling. But we're finding extreme success in like Tempranillo, in Rhone varieties, because of our parallel. It's the latitude. So it's the same, similar as the Rioja region in Spain. So we have the hot days and the cool nights. So yeah, look for those. When I say Rhone varieties, it's Syrah, Viognier, to give you kind of an idea. I remember when I moved here, I got a dog, and I really wanted to call her Viognier because I love Viognier, that grape variety. And my mom's like, try yelling that 3 times. It's really hard to yell. So I looked up other white wine varieties, and my dog's name is Flora instead, because that's easier to say or easier to yell, right? It's just like, so anyways, side note, I get on all these like side tangents all the time.
No, I love it. Tell us about the economic impact that Idaho wine makes.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. So we do economic impact study. We try every like 5 years or so. Those are funded by specialty crop grants because they're expensive to do, but it's important to show growth and value. And when we apply for grants, it's also to show this is why we continue to support. So in 2002, we did our latest economic impact, and it found that we had a $314 million economic impact, which is pretty impressive. It's almost 100,000% growth, because in 2017, it was a $210 million economic impact. So it's amazing to see how much of impact we actually have for a relatively small region, because you think about the tourism that comes in, the hotel stays, all the things, the glass buying, like all the things that go into the economic impact of it. And it's pretty impressive and daunting at the same time. Like, wow,
I can't even
what does it all entail? Yeah.
Right. All the dollars surrounding wine and beverage, you know, that's produced here in Idaho. Which brings me to another thing that I think is probably most people don't know. When wine's made here and using the grapes here, how much is exported out of Idaho? So
the finished product, so grapes will go, like, so people will buy grapes from Idaho to send to Washington. Gruyere, so that's a sparkling house in New Mexico. They actually use a lot of Chardonnay from Idaho and truck it down to New Mexico. But I would say, like, so St. Chapelle is the largest winery in the state, and they make around 100 to 120,000 cases of wine a year. And
Wow.
probably, oh, back in the day, I used to say around like 30% was going out, because we consume a lot of wine in the state of Idaho for what we produce, and that's good. Like, that's a good. We want it to stay here. We want it to, Idahoans to drink Idaho wine. And I think the biggest thing is people need to remember that wine is grapes, right? It's agriculture, right? And I think a lot of times people like don't realize, oh, you grow grapes? Yeah, you have to grow specific grapes in the ground on vines, and it's hard. It's really hard, right? It's a lot of work. You're not going to see me out there pruning in January when it's snowing. Yeah.
Okay. So that's interesting that other states and other countries are buying Idaho grapes. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
So thanks for sharing that with me. Chardonnay, and I know you mentioned Sawtooth is, or St. Chapelle is one of the largest manufacturers, and their Riesling has been super popular over the years. I remember trying to sell against that St. Chapelle Riesling for years. It was just it's just a behemoth. Product.
And we're probably going to actually see, like, people ask me all the time, like, what do you see for the future? I think we're going to see more grapes put in the ground because of what is happening in like California, getting so hot that they're being forced to go north. I mean, it might even go farther into, the Okanagan, into Canada, to have the premier growing region. And so our goal really is to, now I'm such a pusher, right? I'm like, grow. I really want us to be the best in the Northwest. That's success to me. And what does that mean? Like, when the Idaho wineries are selling out of their wine, and when the growers can charge a decent price for their grapes to make the grapes and grow how they want to.
Well, I love it. Michelle and I are going to go trim some grape vines with Haley in Eagle.
Oh, good. Yeah.
3,100 sellers here pretty soon. So we'll get our hands dirty a little bit. So
I love her sparkling wine. That's what she's known for, is the sparkling.
Those bubbles are so much fun. Okay, let me see if I can stay on track here. This is so much fun. Okay, we talked about the regions where Idaho grapes are grown and what you're growing. Hey, now let's talk about some upcoming events where the public can purchase and taste the wines and cideries in Idaho.
Yeah, so we have Savor Idaho. It's always the second Sunday in June, and tickets go on sale March 1st. And it's what it is. It's like, it was created because I wanted to bring Idaho wine to the people. So have a big wine event in Boise. And I do not like being nickel and dime. Like, just tell me how much it costs and let me in. So what we do is, you come in, we like throw a whole bunch of stuff at you. And I mean, like, we're throwing like your little tote bag, your wine glass, your little plates, right? All these things, and then you're free. And so you go and get tastings, right? You go get these little tastings, and you walk around, and hopefully you're trying wines that you haven't tried before. And we're going into our 16th year, and it's great, right? I love it. And do you know what's crazy though, Paul? The last 2 years, it's been 50% new people at the event. And that just tells you about the growth in Idaho. I was shocked by that stat. And I'm like, I had to run the report twice because I didn't believe it. And just comparing, right? But it's pretty impressive. And that's what we want. We want you to come to Savor Idaho. We want you to enjoy yourself. And then we want you to go out to Idaho wine country, or go to wineries and be like, oh, I met you at Savor Idaho. Can I try more of your wine now when you're at Talaya or when you're at Scoria, right? That's the experience that we're trying to give you.
I love it. 16 years. Congratulations. What a success.
Yeah, thanks, right? We're still having fun. That's why we're still doing it.
And I know it's morphed over the years. Sometimes there's music, sometimes there's a one-day event, sometimes there's a 3-day event. Tell us a little bit about what to expect, and remind me again the date.
It's June 8th, Sunday. I'm pretty sure it's a Sunday, June 8th. Okay. Maybe it's June 9th. I need to look it up. Probably should have been prepared for that, right? So what we're doing this year is you're right. We're always kind of changing because the world is changing, right? So what we're doing this year is we're going to have a VIP hour. So we're going to sell just 200 tickets because I'm short. I'm 5'2" on a good day, and I don't really like crowds. So I'm like can we do something kind of for me?
Okay.
And so you get into Paul, you'll come in an hour early,
Okay.
and the
I'm
wineries are
writing
going
this
to put
down.
yeah, something kind of special. And we've asked them to do like, this year's the year of Tempranillo. So hopefully they'll all do like show Tempranillos during that first hour. And you get a fancy, like you definitely have a fancy goodie bag. I always love those like FabFitFun. I love the fancy goodie bags. I'm a
Oh
sucker for
yeah.
that. And then the general admission is going to be 2.5, 3 hours. So there's still plenty of time. We just wanted to give that kind of special. We've never done this. Well, I think we have done a VIP hour, but maybe like 10 or 12 years ago. Like I forget, because after COVID, like everything like morphs together. But yeah, and so we're going to have food trucks. We're going to have paint by numbers. We're also going to have, I saw this at another event, we'll have VIP tables. So what that means is like, Paul, if we wanted to like buy a table, we could. And so that gives us a place to sit. And sometimes like, cause you can bring in your like chair if you want and your picnic blanket.
Right.
But like now I just tore my ACL. So like this year I would really want a table to sit, like plop me somewhere. And yeah, it's just like trying new things. And yeah, if you got any other ideas, just let me know. We're flexible.
IdahoWines.org. I can buy my tickets right directly through this site, correctly?
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let me just check. Okay, we talked about the history from since 1984 that the Idaho Wine Commission spawned.
Yeah.
We talked about the start of the wine growing in the late 1800s in Lewiston, which I think is really cool. I learned that 2025 is the year of the Tempranillo, and I love that. I love that grape. Great juice. I'm so excited. And then we talked about Savor Idaho. So I think that's going to be really neat. And McCoy here is asking about meaderies. And I remember Honey Mead from Lewiston a long time ago. I'm sure we'll have some mead there as well as cideries as well. And what else? What else would you like to share with the listeners while we have you today?
Like, I'm so positive by nature, right? Like, I'm not saving lives, but we still have challenges, right? And it's just on how you navigate through that. And so our like people always ask, like, what are your challenges? Our big challenge is land use, right? So I think we have to like remind people, like especially like Haley out there, right? In 3,100 Cellars, it's agriculture. And so wineries have to turn on lights throughout the night to do punch downs, because during harvest they're bringing in fruit, right? And so that is, I think not everybody realizes that farming practices they don't stop when we go to bed, right, at night at 8 o'clock or 10 o'clock or whatever it is. And then we have to do land preservation too, because like even I was like kind of victim of it. I really wanted to buy this like 2-acre parcel on the river out in Caldwell. It was beautiful, but I'm like, dang, like am I like buying up farmland that should be grapes or something else? Like there's that struggle, right? Like how do you have, positive growth while still sustaining the agriculture land? Yeah. And then, I mean, there's this huge, like also like, not drinking movement going on. And this has like happened. This has happened before. Like we are on a 25-year high, right? And we're coming down. Things have been really good, and it's changing. So I think that it's too like drink in moderation, but still drink wine. And I was like, support local. Like I have 3 boxes from Amazon on my front porch right now. Like could I gone to Fred Meyer? Probably. Should I have? Yes.
Come on, Moya.
I know, but it's like I like struggle, but like we should buy local as much as we can. So that's my like big push too. And I saw that question. So we do represent cideries and meaderies too under code. Yeah, there's just not as many of them.
Well, and the Savor Idaho event is so much fun because you get I made so many connections with other vendors that weren't even selling wine or make wine too. Yeah. And that was really cool. So, okay, for those that are watching, go to IdahoWines.org, learn more about the commission and what they're doing. If you want to support the wine, what's the best thing to do, Moya?
Buy it.
Buy it. That's right. Go to your grocery stores, pick up the Idaho wines when you're looking for wines, go to the wineries, sign up for their clubs, buy their wine, taste their wine, and spread the word. Moya, thank you so much for your time today. I'm so excited about Savor Idaho this year, and look forward to our next time when we can cheers at an event.
Yes, cheers. Thank you.
Bye. Say hi to the team. Tell Ashley thanks again for this.
Will do. Thanks.